The young world of Rhaava is steeped in myth and legend. Mortal empires fueled by ambition wage war against another to seize riches, glory, and a place in history. Their armies, whose armaments glisten underneath a brilliant sun, are led into battle by redoubtable generals. It's a world where magic fuels both creation and destruction, remaking the land with the flow of time. Where sorcerers hurl powerful spells and beasts tower above soldiers. Above the blood-stained cacophony, powerful dragons surge through the skies, driven by an insatiable hunger to consume. Rhaava is young, aching for a hero to grab its reins, write its history, and fulfill their destiny. Welcome to DragonBond. Created by Draco Studios, the stories and events of DragonBond largely unfold on the continent of Valerna within the world of Rhaava. Change defines Rhaava, where stagnation and status quo breed only disaster. Mortal empires rise and fall with the tides. Represented as potential, change is a force that permeates all things and calls out for beings to aspire to greatness. This primal force of potential is called Vaala, the magic of the world, within which three aspects are contained that shape the rocks and oceans, bring forth new life, expedite the process of decay, and most importantly, spur change across Rhaava. Fae, the dream aspect, holds imagination and creativity. It represents the possibility held in dreaming and in the future. Cobb is known as the source and commands all aspects of the natural world. It fuels the unending cycle of life and death, nurturing while also laying low. The final aspect, id, represents will and evokes power and transformation. In harmony with another, these aspects of Vaala are harnessed by the ambitious and worthy to fuel spells, foster growth, heal wounds, inflict plagues, and dominate the lands around them. Long ago, powerful winged dragons mastered all aspects of Vaala, twisting its potential to their whims and warping the natural laws of the world. For their transgression, they were exiled from Rhaava, sealed away in Draka, the distant red moon, which charts a slow course along the sky. The dragons' banishment severed their ties to Vaala and greatly weakened them, but they couldn't be destroyed. A terrible curse grips Rhaava, visible in the night sky, and taunts mortal realms that grow too ambitious. Before the dragons were sealed, the greatest among them created a rift through space and time that connects Draka to the rest of the world. Every 27 years when the red moon rises, dragons pour forth from the rift and descend upon Rhaava's kingdoms. Hatred, hunger, and greed drive them in an insatiable quest to consume Vaala, the precious nectar of which they've been deprived. Cities crumble, fields are set ablaze as the dragons destroy entire nations, killing or enslaving their populations. Next to such destruction, the squabbles of mortals seem petty. For centuries, the dragons would prey on Rhaava until need drove mortals towards a different path, from which new heroes were born to safeguard the empires and combat this terrible threat, the DragonBonded. When a mortal crosses steel with a dragon's fiery breath, few outcomes can result, one of which is the birth of a DragonBonded. When a mortal sees in the dragon something more than a beast consumed by hunger and rage, and when a dragon sees in the mortal something more than lowly prey, in essence they see the potential within another, and a magical connection extends between them, filigree tendrils of Vaala that quickly grow strong as steel as they penetrate the hearts of each. The dragon and the mortal are no longer two separate beings, but rather of one mind and spirit. The mystical union of a DragonBond confers onto the mortal a dragon's power, instinct, and drive, while the dragon receives a connection to Vaala that they've not had for centuries. DragonBonded represent the combined ideals of mortal and dragon, no longer beholden to either. Their ambition and strength have granted them lordship over the mortal empires of Valerna, a lush continent ripe with potential for those desiring to etch their own destiny. Valerna is the largest continent of Rhaava, and where the events of DragonBond unfold. It's a land rich in diversity and adventure. Myriad races and civilizations dwell within disparate and naturally awe-inspiring geographical regions where they toil endlessly against hardship, war, or strife to carve out great swaths of land for their future. Valerna carves a long, narrow path north to south on a map, bordered to the west by the Valernian Sea, the east by the greater unsailed ocean, the south by the turning tide, and the north by the frozen wastes. The domineering peaks of the Primalian mountain range cut from north to south. Their sharp crags and steep slopes roughly divide Valerna in half. The dense primordial jungles of the Westerlands are intermittently crisscrossed by life-giving rivers and dotted by inland seas. It's a region of unbridled growth within which can be found the Kingdom of Alaria. Perhaps the mightiest realm in all of Valerna, Alaria is ruled by a dynasty of half-elves called the Alai, whose lineage extends millennia. This kingdom rose to greatness by its strict adherence to a rigid system of laws, social castes, and religious hierarchies. This structure, known as the Eliadu, or the sacred law of the realm, guides everything within the kingdom, from the crafting of wares to the duties of individuals to the drills and formation of Alaria's vast armies. The DragonBonded Elise and Farallon lead the valiant Oathguard in battle, elite men-at-arms marching in brilliant lockstep and taking the battlefield with superior tactics. Across the Promalian Mountains lie Valerna's Easterlands, dominated by the Blood Empire of Tiveria. Tiveria stands in the geographical heart of the continent and represents its cultural, political, and martial center, vying with its rival Alaria for the position of premier empire on Valerna. Blood sorcerers with vampiric powers over life and death hold Tiveria in a tyrannical grip, ruling through intrigue, diplomacy, and subterfuge as the great houses. Blood always begets more of the same, and the noble houses of Tiveria are known for their ruthless ambition and haughty excess. They flaunt their eminence for all to see, and brutally oust bitter rivals. Blood carries with it the weight of power in Tiverian society, transformed through sanguine rituals into currency, securing fealty through blood oaths, and preserving the legacies of ruling household bloodlines. Power is passed from generation to generation through the sanguine legacy as progeny work to add to their forebears' opulence. The fearless Blood Emperor Adriel and the vain Nagasha lead Tiveria as DragonBonded. They command countless legions of blooded human soldiers trained for war in gladiatorial fighting pits. They are supported by ruthless blood sorcerers who sap vitality from the enemy, cast terrible plagues, and unleash blood husks onto the field. Natural law reigns supreme in the primordial forests south of Alaria, the boundaries of which mark the reach of the Nahuak coalition. This band of loosely affiliated tribes and cities finds common ground in cooperation and harmony with nature. The Nahuak revere life-giving jungles and mountain ranges, their people cultivating the landscape to provide for their needs as they defend their realm with a tenacity few can match. The coalition is as variable as the lands they claim, as humans, lizard folk, jaguar people, and myriad beasts add to the vibrant diversity of Nahuak. Their lands are roughly divided into 4 geopolitical quarters. Each quarter excels at a particular aspect of magic or the natural world. Their armies rely on feats of strength to dissuade foes. They can call upon the power of war beasts, primal entities, and even the land itself to do battle in the name of the coalition. The coalition is shepherded by the warrior Ariandi, who receives wise counsel from her curious, bonded Tetzcoatl. The last of the great empires lies to the frigid north, where terrible winds bite and the warmth of the sun is but a memory. The Holy Alliance of Ysfall stands as a bastion of light against the snow-swept darkness of their environs. This order of clerics, templars, and knights are hewn from brutal necessity into a stalwart alliance of dukedoms as harsh as the frozen wilds. Ysvallians are hardy farmers and shepherds, content to toil for meager yields if it means freedom from the yoke of more powerful nations. They're fiercely independent and believe in the purifying Galadian light for guidance in a grim world. Ysvallian armies are built upon cooperation and conviction. Their heavily armored knights charge into the fray to seek out evil, while their allies, the giants, support the rank and file. The pious Orion, inheritor of Ysfall's throne, leads his people and is filled with a sense of great honor. He's supported by his bonded Raxor, a ruthless hunter with ambition only to feed on lesser prey. Many petty kingdoms and tribes populate the rich landscapes of Valerna, their courts each filled with great stories and greater heroes. Beneath it all lies a second world unto itself known as the Hollow Depths, an underground realm of lightless continents and black seas that extend into the bedrock of the world. Here, demon-like entities rule through fear and anguish, while cartels of smugglers and crime syndicates peddle illicit or dangerous wares onto Valerna above. The Hollow Depths are feared by all. And then, there's a force far more dangerous, far more evil than anything below. Though Vaala brings forth change in the world, every force has an opposite, a counter that stands against it but is somehow inextricably linked. Like two faces of the same coin, the Knoll stands opposite of Vaala. Beyond power, beyond comprehension lies the void, the shadowy counterpart of Rhaava, wherein the Knoll flows freely. If Vaala represents potential, the Knoll brings utter stagnation, absence of change, of drive and motivation, even of magic and being. It's an entropic force of nothingness and constantly tears at the threads of Vaala, penetrating into the realm. Where it gains purchase, twisted and warped amalgamations of flesh emerge to spread plague and consume magic. Creatures of the void are inscrutable and insatiable, driving some who face them to madness or sinking hopelessness as they represent the fate that awaits all should the powers of Vaala stagnate. Empires and their dragon-bonded rulers are poised to wrest control of Valerna from their enemies. Their armies have mustered on the fields under brilliant house banners and coats of arms. Humans, elves, dwarves, and monsters beyond imagination fill the ranks, while Vaala channeling sorcerers and necromancers support from a distance. Beyond the horizon, Draco, the red moon rises, and from it countless fearsome dragons will bring destruction upon the mortal realm as they feed their overwhelming desire to consume precious magic. And amidst the turmoil that will unfold, a dangerous evil lurks imperceptible, but growing each day as it brings the threat of the Knoll once more to Rhaava. Who will vanquish their foes? Who will take to the field and stand triumphant over all of Valerna? Which empire will subdue the dragons, crush the Knoll, and make their mark on history? That's for you to decide, DragonBonded. Thanks so much for watching and listening to this video on the introduction to DragonBond and the world of Rhaava. Now I want to hear from you. Let me know what you think of Rhaava's lore. Which faction are you most interested in learning more about, as well as suggestions for future videos in the comments below. And if you're interested in checking out DragonBond or other Draco Studios projects, check out the links to their sites listed in the description below. We'll continue the video series in the coming weeks, taking a deeper dive into the history of Rhaava and formation of Valerna's powerful empires. Again, I want to give a huge shout out to my Patreon supporters who make all of this possible. It helps the channel grow and improve. If you're interested in becoming a lore luminary for access to me, early video drops, scripts, and a great community, head to patreon.com/Lorebrarians to learn more. Until next time, go forth and explore the lore.